This is a sad video, and it's directly tied to these cell phone towers. So let's watch about childhood cancer. Let's watch.
The phone company Sprint shut down a cell phone tower on the campus of a California elementary school after some parents said it may be linked to several recent cases of childhood cancer. Now, those families at Weston Elementary School in Ripping claim the tower could have exposed their kids to harmful radiation. Sprint says the tower is safe and has operated well below federal safety limits, but the company turned it off anyway and plans.
But they turned it off. Yeah, it's perfectly safe, but you know what? Screw it. When has a company ever done that? When has a company ever done that? Okay, here we go.
Move it to a new location. Carter Evans spoke to the families at the center of the controversy.
My son missed growing up with his friends. My son lost all of his hair. It's not something that I wish on anybody, to watch their child go through what our children have gone through.
Kelly Prime's son Kyle was just 10 years old when he was diagnosed with kidney cancer in 2016. 5 months later, Kyle's friend and classmate Mason Ferrulli developed brain cancer.
14 hours to get the tumor out, and he had 5 weeks of inpatient rehabilitation. He had to learn to walk, talk, eat, everything all over again.
2 more kids at the school were diagnosed this year.
At what point are you saying, we ought to take a close look at the school here?
The moment that I found out that Mason had been diagnosed, it popped into my mind that something was not okay.
The moms believe the recent increase in cancer cases could be caused by radiation from radio frequency, or RF waves, coming from this cell tower located on the elementary school campus.
Wow. So, Kim, give me some background on this. I mean, what are the safety measures? What are the standards for this kind of stuff?
Yeah, well, I want to say first that I personally have seen firsthand these tragic consequences of electromagnetic field exposure. So it's real. I've seen it. The WHO, thank God we're out of there, the World Health Organization.
Oh, thank God.
Yeah, they established the International EMF Project, the Electromagnetic Field Project, in 1996, to assess scientific evidence regarding possible health effects of EMF exposure. Now, this project supposedly has reviewed approximately 25,000 articles published over the last 30 years. We don't know who wrote them or how biased they were or anything. But the WHO concluded that current evidence, and I'm quoting, current evidence does not confirm the existence of any health consequences from exposure to low-level electromagnetic fields. Well, what's low level in their estimation? And they determined this, Jimmy, in 2011. That's freaking 15 years ago.
Yeah.
And their position has remained unchanged. I mean, can you believe that? This is 15 years ago. And no movement. And then the International Agency for Research on Cancer, IARC, and that's a specialized agency of the WHO, classified radio frequency EMFs, that's from mobile phones, Wi-Fi, et cetera, as, quote, possibly carcinogenic to humans, again, in 2011. Now, this classification was based on an observed increased risk for a specific type of brain cancer among the heaviest mobile phone users. It indicates that a link is clearly evident.
Wow.
So, here we have the primary established effect of intense radio frequency energy is heating of tissues. However, international exposure limits are supposedly in place to prevent this from happening under normal usage. The problem, Jimmy, with these established limits is it hasn't been studied with enough time of constant exposure to conclude that it's in fact unharmful. I mean, we just saw these kids have brain tumors. They don't have their phones up to their head. What's doing it? And, then they go ahead and they say some studies that suggest harm. Well, what they do is they criticize these for poor methodology or lack of independent replication, or for using high exposure levels that don't represent real world public exposure. Bull crap. That's real public exposure. That's exposure there with those kids. And, the electromagnetic fields are all around us, Jimmy. They range from non-ionizing low energy radiation to, low doses, which are generally considered harmless, to ionizing high energy radiation, which has the potential to cause cellular and DNA damage. Just like I said, 6G is going to be laser beams. I mean, come on. I mean, the increasingly widespread use of EMF, it's really raising important questions about the potential effects related to long-term exposure.
And so besides cancer, what other kind of effects have you noticed from this kind of radiation exposure?
Well, let me give you a couple examples of some things I find very curious. Here we have increased rates of dementia, for one. I mean, let's look at this. There's been dramatic spikes in Alzheimer's disease, such as the 373% increase in diagnosis among 30 to 44-year-olds,
Yep.
and a 311% increase in 45 to 54-year-olds in the United States in recent years. And the timing corresponds to the large recent increases in wireless communication, EMF exposures. We've got DNA damage and breakage, increased oxidative stress, cell death, all leading to Alzheimer's and the increased risk of cancer.
Boy, I never put that together. I never connected the cell phones and the increase in, because we know that there's been a huge skyrocket in dementia and Alzheimer's in younger people, much younger, and that's becoming common almost now. And I hadn't put it together, but there it is. That makes sense. That as the we went from 2G to 3G to 4G to 5G, more powerful, people using cell phone towers everywhere, to the increase in dementia, Alzheimer's. I mean, I know that correlation doesn't mean causation, but it certainly is suspicious.
That's right. And we're being saturated with, these higher levels of frequencies. It's crazy, Jimmy. And, life expectancy is years shorter in the US compared to the UK. We talked about Europe, but in UK, I wanted to talk about that a little bit, because the United States, we had 5G in every single metropolitan area before the UK even had a single 5G tower. And we've got hidden towers. Yeah, we've got hidden towers. They're designed to blend into the environment so we don't notice them.
Right.
Things like fake trees and church steeples and crosses and water towers. So, here in the United States, we've had more overall exposure to 5G for a much longer period of time. And the way 5G gets absorbed into our bodies is through our sweat pores, and then it's working its way through our endocrine system and then into our brains, and of course, the rest of our organs. And I just want to mention again, the WHO has not changed their position on the safety of 5G since 2011. But there's mounting evidence that these EMF levels are impacting our gut microbiome. And
keep
go
going.
ahead.
Well, tell me about the studies.
Oh, there's studies. Yeah. There was a study in the International Journal of Sciences and Applied Research that stated that this electromagnetic radiation has been shown to influence the composition of our gut microbiota.
No kidding.
Yeah, because it's causing oxidative stress and it's causing microbial DNA alterations and the thermal effects, the heating that I talked about earlier. And that all leads to dysbiosis. That's unbalancing our microbiome. That's when the gut flora gets out of balance, and now it's going to cause a myriad of health issues. So the gut microbiome is so important because it's related to our immune health, because 70 to 80% of our immune system is stored in the gut. And it depends on that balance of the good and bad bacteria. But it's not just our immune system. There's countless examples of how our gut affects other areas of our health.
So, I mean, since we started working with you, I've been educated on how important your gut microbiome is to everything, especially a good working immune system.